Hello, friends and fans. Good evening. Welcome to another edition of our Crystal's Time Machine live video blog. My name is Crystal Johnson. Welcome to our video this evening. Don't forget that Crystal's Time Machine airs on 980 WCAP, live from Lowell, Massachusetts, where everybody gets it. And Crystal's Time Machine is your home for great music. We come to you every Friday and Saturday from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time on WCAP. And we also take your requests live in our studio. Call 978-454-4980 and we play what you say. We also want to say hello to Broadway Pizzeria. Broadway Pizzeria is the official sponsor of Crystal's Time Machine. Call them at 978-453-8030 and they will deliver right to your door. Make sure that you mention that promo code, which is WCAP, and you get a special discount. That's a pretty good deal. So hello to all of our friends and our fans out there. I hope you guys are having a great day today. Happy Easter. And if you are celebrating Easter with your friends and your family today, have a safe and healthy one. And I hope it was good for you. And we had a pretty good Easter. And we went out for dinner. And it was so much fun. So I hope you had as much fun as we did. And we had a great episode of Crystal's Time Machine. We had 2 hours on Friday and 2 hours on Saturday. So it was such a wonderful day. We played a lot of Easter tunes. And we also played your requests and your dedications. We had a total of 20 requests. That's pretty awesome. Not bad. 20 requests for one weekend. That's 10 requests on Friday and 10 on Saturday. I'll take that any weekend. So we also had our podcast. Our podcast was recorded in our home studio here in Lowell, Massachusetts. And we played 16 songs on this week's podcast. And we're going to reveal to you today the artists that you're going to hear on this most recent edition of our podcast. Now, as you know, our podcast is separate from the live shows. We do that for a couple of reasons. The first reason is because we can play more songs on the live shows than we can on the podcast. Because the podcast is songs from my CD collection. And if we get requests, we have to play requests on the live shows instead of the podcast. Because we may not have the song that you requested. So that's why we have to do the requests on the live shows and we leave the podcast for my CD collection. And we record a new episode every Friday. And our podcast is only 50 minutes long, whereas our live show is 2 hours every Friday and Saturday. So that's 4 hours of Crystal's Time Machine on the radio. It's only 50 minutes on the podcast. And the commercials that are on the live shows are not featured on the podcast. So that's why we have to do 2 separate shows. Okay? Just in case you were wondering why we separate the live shows from the podcast. Alright? That's why we have to do it that way, because of the differences in the songs that we play on the live shows versus the podcast. Now, we can play songs from 1950 all the way until the year 2000. All right, so our podcast can feature many different genres of songs. We feature oldies. We also feature country music. We also feature Broadway musicals and kids songs and even Disney songs, okay? We also have our exclusive Thank You Reba McEntire Marathon. But we only do that during special episodes. Whereas if our show is having an anniversary, or if our show is doing a milestone episode, for example, episode 500, which is coming up pretty soon. Yeah. So that's really exciting. All right, anyways, in case you don't know about 980 WCAP, we have great talk shows. We have great music programs. So check us out today. Just go to 980WCAP.com and click on Listen Live, okay? And you can hear the most recent episode of Crystal's Time Machine. And speaking of our podcast, here are the artists that you're going to hear on this most recent episode. You're going to hear songs by Tony Orlando and Dawn, Jack Jones, Doris Day, The Lettermen, Brooke Benton, Sarah Vaughan, Carly Simon, The Four Aces, Donnie and Marie Osmond, Eddie Fisher, Dinah Washington, Perry Como, Nat King Cole, Gene Vincent, The Lettermen, and Della Reese. So that's a really great show. I hope you listen to our show this weekend, and please tell all your friends about Crystal's Time Machine and, of course, the radio station 980 WCAP. And make sure that you mention that our podcast is streaming exclusively on archive.org, okay? And if you noticed, we did not do a doo-wop song of the week. There's no doo-wop song of the week for our Easter episode, okay? That feature will come back next week. So join us next week for a brand new episode of Crystal's Time Machine, the podcast, okay? And also join us on the live shows every Friday and Saturday from 9 to 11 p.m. All right? Mwah. Kisses, everybody. We love you so much. Have a wonderful Easter weekend, and we'll see you back here next week, okay? Good night, everybody.